Alright, so I have a small update. Yesterday I had a nice meeting with Jack, right? I'm gonna upload it before I upload this video. So in a sense, these two people are probably the most elite technicians on the planet. I won't spoil you why, but if you want to know, watch the previous video with me and Jack. It's about 30 minutes. So yeah, let's just wait for Philip to arrive. Yeah, anyway, so I can tell you how chill it is to work from VR. Like, I literally just woke up. I just set my alarm at like 1 p.m, right? Just taking it very easy. It takes me like 5 minutes or less to be here. After this, I'm just gonna have a nice, I'm just gonna chill and work on some more stuff. So yesterday I was advertising a little bit. Well, I was just showing off to some people on Facebook because you kind of have to still keep connected, right? So let me just tell some. Okay, so this is HeliX, right? I think it's pretty cool. It's getting better and better every time I look at it. Someone wants to say something. Let's see. Let me just. Okay. Just a moment. I'm just gonna see who said what. Alright, he's coming. So, thing is, Philip is a very special person. He's working for Aptera Motors. Oh yeah, yesterday I was like looking up some stuff about Venus. Right? It seems all doom and gloom, but I actually think it could be a heaven for a habitat. So Venus colonization is probably worth more than Mars or lunar colonization, and you also don't have to worry about the gravity differences. It's just a high pressure, but we can deal with that. Corrosive atmosphere, we can deal with that. Carbon dioxide, which is very good to get fuel. Right, on Mars this would still be kind of tricky or take a while, but imagine a starship like that's somehow not gonna melt being on Venus. So yeah, it has a ton of energy, right, because of the greenhouse effect. This is also why I kind of think we should go this route, even though it's very okay, it's out there in terms of ideas, but I would say if you manage to move everybody to live underwater, right, then you can do whatever you want with the atmosphere. We could technically just go ham on the greenhouse gases at that point, once we don't need the surface to like live anymore, right? So mega cities underwater, and the beauty of it all is we can connect as one country instead of all of these separate countries. No, we can just be one. I mean, if you're gonna make a one world government anyway, why not just do it that way? Then it's more natural and people can still have their identities, right? instead of having it forced top down, etc., and all the trade routes being overwhelmed. Okay, so yeah, Venus is cool. Let's see if he's coming. Philip. Okay. This is not the best start, but oh well. I'll just wait for him to arrive, right? A wizard is always he's not on time, but they'll always arrive when they're needed. Alright, I'll just copy this invite link again. There we go. Alright. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this one small detail. I don't know if it even works, but I'll just say the magic words. Like, subscribe, and well, you don't even have to like it. Just like or dislike, honestly. I kind of care about real data, you know? So me saying just like and subscribe without reason, no, that's not good. You should only like or subscribe if you like the content and where it's going. And if you don't like it, you should definitely dislike. Even if other people can't see it, I can see that, I guess, right? I can see the likes less dislike ratio. So it's good intel for me. I don't want to be lied to, right? That's the last thing we need. Otherwise, we're just gonna grow off course. So, like if you like, dislike if you dislike, hate if you hate, love if you love. Okay, let's see if he's here. I guess not. Okay, so I'll go into this system, right? It's for sale now as an NFT. It's an open sea, right? And I also have the domain sales.eth. Think about putting it also there. You can also get it on Gumroad. The easiest way would be the NFT, right? Which makes it a lot easier because the NFT actually controls this device. So essentially, this tablet here, it's just a holder for your phone. Your phone controls the vehicle, and you can even use your accelerometer, you know, and like everything you can just control it like that. You can also bind it to different controls. Like in my case, I like the index controllers, right? So I can bind it to that with some fail safes, as in like a backup to just return to home feature. Essentially, it just finds a way to safely land where it should land in case it loses connection or in case you press the big red button, right? No, the big red button doesn't do weird things. It just safely lands, if possible, within regulations, right? So even if you do not own a... Okay, sorry, let me just reiterate, right? So this thing is an all-in-one. So what kind of license do you need for an all-in-one? Well, good thing is Dutch regulations mean that for vehicles, I think smaller than like 8 meters or 9 meters, which this one is, you don't need a license. It's just pleziervaart, you know? Same for submersibles. Apparently you don't need a license for that. So I would say you still need some training, you know? I know the vehicle handles a lot, but we just want to make sure that you can at least check the systems correctly. So yeah, it will remain submersive and breathable. I'll keep using that term because I kind of like it. Okay, Philip, let me just check it on my phone. He's still not. Okay. Oh, he was checking me on Twitter. Okay. That's kind of funny. I mean, yeah, I just shitpost on Twitter. I honestly don't know how to use Twitter. So, oh, hey, Philip. Hello. You're at your phone, I guess. So, yeah, I was just starting the video a little bit. I'm recording this. Is it all right? I was talking a bit about this new product. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So, I mean, I guess I could get your feedback too.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah, Aptera Motors. Like, you guys are amazing. Like, I think you guys are probably Tesla's best competition, right? Let me just.
Yes, I think so. And I like Tesla as well.
Oh, perfect. Right. So, I think we're starting the new generation of companies, and instead of just working in silos, we're all gonna work together, and make the coolest stuff that we can. And
yes,
I want to start.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
The 21st century is networked and collaborative, and we absolutely have to, primarily on account of the existential threat. But this is an opportunity for clean energy to kind of catapult ahead.
Exactly. Speaking of catapults, I have some plans there too. So,
all right.
I would like to. So
tell me about it. Go for it.
Yeah. So this vehicle is an all-in-one, right? And ideally, you don't need a license to use it. It's just robotic. It's just a robotic system, right? It just autonomously, ferries you to your destination in a safe way. So it can submerge. It can go on water like a boat. It can fly, and we are also working on an experimental feature to make the wings flap. I was talking with Grant Borman. It's some lead engineer at SpaceX on this mechanic. We got pretty far. He did say using conventional methods would have a lot of wear and tear. So I figured something out for that. So magnets, right? How did it work? I mean, I think we could have a shot with magnets, but by default it's just gonna glide, right? Or uses engines to propel itself. So what do you think?
Potentially memory-shaped metals. What do you think of that?
Okay. So I was looking into that too, right? Muscle wire, but it's like it's hard to access. Maybe if you make them yourself, but yeah, that's actually the solution. Honestly, like that's it. If it can do that with little braking over time, then it's good. It's kind of like an actual
metallic
muscle.
fatigue. There's also potential for sort of a pneumatic setup, pneumatic muscles.
Yeah, looked into that too, but then you have high pressure. Well, I mean, it will work, but I guess that would also be good. But what I had in mind was actually a new type of actuator, and then I also need it for my robots, right? So what I like to do is start from the smallest piece, and if the smallest piece can do the most things, then it's the best piece, right? So essentially, it's like a ball, right? One ball, and it has magnets all over in it, right? On this close to the surface, so you can electronically activate all of those magnets separately, and you can create movement. It can basically move a stick, right? So what Einstein said was he does not know with which weapons World War IV will be fought, but World War III will be fought, but with World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones, yes.
Why don't we just actually make the sticks and stones? I mean, it's just some magnetic attachments, right? And they can magnetically actuate with little wear and tear. So that's what I had in mind, especially once you have a fusion reactor. I don't know. I mean, I was a bit tired, but I first asked people, hey, you know how to make? Is anyone making like a mini fusion reactor or something? Probably not, right? And a couple moments later, I think I figured something out, and it's using very simple methods. It's probably not gonna work, right? But so the last month I did a bit of research into fusion reactors, and what I came up to was the best would probably be an explosion that's contained using using a system that converts the heat into magnetism inwards. right? And then basically it contains itself until there's fusion. But you can also do this process differently, because needing explosives is probably a bad idea, right? And you don't want to give those to consumers. So what you want, I mean, in the best case, is to just have an inwards facing heat to magnetic field layer, right? And that's okay. So in the center you have the fuel. Ideally, it would be helium-3 and maybe some other fuels good for fusion, right? And then you just send that off on its way to the sun, right? It just has to graze it because of all of the heat and other forces on um, when you're close to the sun. Of course, almost touching it, like the Parker probe recently, but even closer.
Right. Yeah.
Then that might be enough energy for fusion, assuming that these materials can handle that. But that's my guess, right? So when it returns on this slingshot, it would be a fused. It would have fusion inside for a couple thousand years. That's my guess. But is this theory correct, or is there something I'm missing?
That's quite extraordinary. You've given this some thought. um, so it's interesting you've chosen to make it submersible as well. I like that it's able to fly, able to submerge, able to take off from the surface of the water, like a duck, actually. And as it turns out, I'm a former nuclear submarine navigator.
You what?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's okay. This is perfect. So, Jack, I don't know if you know him, but he's an electric vehicle test fleet technician, or he was at Anuvu, and I think he knew you from there. And apparently, it's like some elite group of crazy geniuses. Do you know more?
I actually don't know him very well, but I obviously like his style and his his pursuits of thought. Yeah, we got a great guy in common, and you are doing a virtual. What is your medium that you're doing this on?
I'm using VRChat. I think it's the best metaverse-esque thing right now. It just gives me all kinds of freedom, right? I can be anyone, anything, anywhere, and there's tons of worlds, and that's how I got into flying jets. Then I wanted to make my own after winning the world championships here. So yeah, and then now I'm also gonna make a new world championship for flying jets, and I'm also gonna add a price. And in that post, I said it's like a super weapon, right? Of course, it's not an actual weapon, no. It's basically this device. So at least if we get a couple sales, I'm also gonna give away this device as a prize for winning this tournament. So I'm excited because it will give people access to the world. And on top of that, like, I'm going to try to mass produce these, even if nobody buys them, right? Because one, we can probably produce them for cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And then have them be robo-taxis, but in a safer way, because who's gonna walk in front of you on water? It's a lot easier to make something autonomous on water and in the air, right?
Yeah, that's right. Wide open areas. And
Yep.
yet there will be a point, and I know it sounds crazy, but
Yep.
there will be a point where things will get a little bit crowded.
Yeah.
And actually
That's a
in
good
the
thing.
air. I know. So much better than on the ground. So NASA actually has a kind of a zonal management system similar to what we did in subs. We call it moving havens, and moving havens is like an area of a path that you have for a time, and then it disappears. And
Oh,
so it's at different
that's really nice. It also gives you
levels.
some freedom, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah. So you got a flexibility, but it's time management. That way, no one's in the same zone at the same time. And then you have what they call stovepipes, which is like a cylinder of area where you can transfer from a lower level to a higher level
Oh my
or the other
god.
way.
I have a
Yeah.
good idea. So we can
Hmm.
also make those visible with augmented reality.
Absolutely.
And then a manager, like you know um those people that manage air traffic controllers,
That's
right?
right.
They're
Hmm.
very overwhelmed with all of this abstract information on, well, on the
To be
screens, right?
taken care of by AI. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's taken care of by AI, and people that are curious, that just want to look, hey, what's gonna come, it's just plain even allowed in this area, they can just use augmented reality to overlay
Right.
that on their world, right? And then it's just like very intuitive. So the best UI is no UI. It just works, right? So I like this.
Hmm.
So
Very fluid.
um okay, I'm gonna rewatch this video and take some notes on that. But yeah, so this device was inspired by nature, right?
Okay.
And I would say, once it starts flapping and can do VTOL, it opens up a lot of areas, especially if we can mass produce them for cheap. I mean, the price already got reduced by a lot, but according to Jack, the production cost could be about 100K per device. But I mean, to me, it feels like it could be even cheaper. But we have to do some testing. But I at least want to have the Mark One done with a lot of quality, so we can test the full capabilities. So I was wondering, Aptera Motors is working on similar shaped devices with solar panels, which I want to add here. So I'm
Uh-huh.
curious, like, are they open to collaborate on maybe the production of a device like this?
Uh, well, I can't speak for everyone
Hmm.
right away, but I wouldn't imagine that is enough surface area. I mean, it could be
Or the wing
useful
surface
for.
area.
That's right. So
I
it
know.
depends
Needs to
how light.
you
Yeah.
need to like have 17, maybe 14 to 17, I guess. Um, flaps per second, right? So the smaller the
Uh-huh.
wingspan, the more flaps you need. So that's how it works. So I could make the wings bigger, but then you would have the space concerns, right? So, and safety. So you don't want a big wing just flying off. And well, I guess a big wing could be useful if you just use them for sailing, right? Like you can also like activate them to be sails, so they're higher up. So that would be ideal. Okay, you're right. Actually, you're right. It does feel like they're too small. Okay, good point. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Well, and now it depends. There is a a famous physics example of the bumblebee, right?
Hmm.
And people postulate, how is it that the bumblebee can fly with its small wings? And
Ah,
I'm sure you're quite familiar with the dragonfly. It's
yeah.
definitely a favorite mastery of flight. But
Hmm.
it uses a sort of a figure eight. A lot of these flying insects use a figure eight
Infinity. Yeah.
with an upward motion of their wings, with an upward sort of vortex that's occurring. So they have both the downstroke and the upstroke is creating lift.
What? That's crazy. So, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we
Yep.
could replicate that?
I mean, so that would be the line of query, is to see what it. So there's people who spend a lot of time studying, insect wing flight, and yeah, it's a possibility that it's not just the regular airfoil, but in fact, you can utilize the efficiency of
Oh, no.
vortices.
Yeah. So speaking of the airfoil,
Uh huh.
um, so in the front here you have the hydrofoil. So at the start I was thinking maybe this could in the future flap open, to give even more lift. Um, would that be a good idea? Um,
Who that what would flap open the
this part,
wings?
no, the hydrofoil.
Oh, yeah, that's a really fantastic feature. I wonder. It reminds me of let's see, these planes, something composite. Something composite. There is an innovative group. The name escapes me, but
It's all right.
composite is within the name, like sort of like universal composites. I'll get back to you on that. And anyway, they had as a key feature this kind of a mini wing from the nose. And so it's kind of similar to
Okay.
your hydrophil
Yeah. So like
hydrophoeter.
here,
Yeah.
right?
So I'm wondering if it could actually be incorporated into an aeronautical advantage, perhaps. Yeah. Or if it has an eccentricity in flight. It's a little bit reminiscent of the box wing. Have you seen the box wing form?
I think so. I mean, it probably looks like a box, right? So like this.
Well, yeah, similar. So there's some interesting new small flight. So it's like a modern version of a of a bi-wing. So two wings, and then they actually are connected
like
at
those
the
old
tips.
planes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the biplane. That's right.
The biplane.
A modern version of that, and that gives a lot more surface area. There's an interesting dynamic that's happening, and smaller wings. Yeah.
Okay, so now that you mention, I mean, what's stopping us from just adding more wings until it flies? So, I mean, that's a simple assumption, right? But,
But I
yeah,
like your ornithopter concept.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Dune, and then I got crazy about it, and yeah, it's amazing. I've never seen one just like this, so I think everything should at least have some aesthetics, right? So if it's beautiful and people just go wow, and they're thinking, hey, we actually live in the future, I think that's a good feeling, right? And if it's also very accessible because you can have like a sharing economy, I basically want to make it's a strange concept, but I want to make travel as cheap as possible, because what the metaverse showed me was that with zero travel time, people get more connected, right? And they learn faster. They can just and you have less constraints to deal with. So the more people get into contact with each other all over the world, the lower our geopolitical tensions could be, right?
Yes, such as with Russia and China now, we're in this bizarre situation, right?
Yeah, it's
Let's see.
strange. Like, I actually don't even think Russia and China are a threat. Like, this goes that far. Like, it's just more of an obvious thing that they should be doing, right? And they are good at what they do, so they take precautions. I get it, right?
I looking at your. I'm wondering if I can share
Oh yeah, let me
a
just.
photo. How can I share a photo with you in this way? Oh, I guess I can text it to you.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. How do I? Oh, maybe on LinkedIn. Can I put a photo on LinkedIn?
Sure.
Of course.
Yes.
All right, let's do that. Okay, so I just took a photo for you. Send a photo. And it's a sketch I did a couple years ago, and I think it'll blow your mind. It's similar to what you're working on. Isn't that funny? How sometimes, obviously it's very different, but sometimes concepts can happen in parallel when their time has come.
Okay, I'm curious if it will load, but
Oh, I sent it.
okay, I'll just refresh.
Yeah. So
All right, yeah, got it. Yeah.
definitely looking at the
Whoa.
concept of something small, you
Whoa.
know, but it was more
Mm.
like the landing gear, right? As you can
Mm.
see, the wheels have hooks on them, and it also an ornithopter. Look at that.
Mm.
How nuts is that? The parallel concept of following logic, right?
Mm.
Where it would actually be able to perch essentially on the windowsill of
Hmm.
your apartment at
Oh
any
my
level.
god. Oh my god. Imagine just being able to park it there. That's so crazy.
Uh,
Yeah.
Well, I guess you wouldn't call it parking anymore. It would
Mhm.
perch.
Mhm. I like it.
But
And
you see what can be accomplished with
yep.
a very carefully coordinated ornithopter.
Yep.
All right.
Crazy.
Okay.
Like, all of those childhood drawings of mine weren't wrong. This is how it should have been. Okay, no, I'm kidding in a way, but um I want to see this. Like, that would be out of this world. It's like the future, like that people were thinking of, like in the 1800s, even when they were like envisioning the future. We could even recreate that vision. I think that's pretty nice, right? Just giving a homage to them, and it would also solve a lot of our problems. So a perching option would be cool. So naturally, then comes the point of like, how do you get existing buildings to work with that? I mean, I guess you could either find ones that are already suitable. Mm,
So it's probably a situation of dealing with the structure. So steel structure would be more ideal. And
mm-hmm,
then what buildings don't like is what you call an eccentricity.
mm-hmm,
Like
yeah,
emotion going at a funny angle, you might say.
yeah,
So
like an earthquake.
perhaps
Mm,
as long as the vehicle is not too much of a weight load,
mm-hmm,
and as long as it can kind of zero out the eccentricity, um, and clearly even more is that if you can coordinate them, if you can add balance from one side to the other, then
mm-hmm.
at that point it's probably not a big deal. But
True. You're right. So the main point is the strength of the perch points, right? That
mhm.
at least has to be good enough to like deal with all of the forces during perching. It sounds so funny, but the more I use it, the more I like it. So yeah, and I would say we can set a simple framework in place so that devices know where to perch. To like one ensure the stability of the building that's being perched upon. Um, yeah, I would say safety first, right? So if this can be automated, that's that's the better. On top of that, we have to not forget the moment that you perch, you also need to get out. So the perch points might need to have a way for you to just climb out. Okay, so let me just go back to this picture. So in our vehicle, right, this um, the cockpit, it opens up like a fighter jet, but like um, it's opens up like a um, how do I say it? Um, yeah, like a ring box, So like this.
Haha.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. It would also be ideal to ask someone to marry you. I mean, imagine if this was. Okay, let me just not go off topic. But it opens
Oh,
up
I
like
see what
that.
you mean. Yeah.
So I would say you can have. Mm, yeah, I don't think it really matters. Make whatever is comfortable for you to get out, and make sure that the type of person that's in it can actually get out. So you have accessibility, right? So I would say for older people, you don't want to be perching. If your knees are like having issues, like it's probably not a good idea.
Mm.
Otherwise,
Well,
yeah.
what if they had a kind of a leg prosthesis that just enables them to have greater strength
already
and
working on
flexibility.
that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the robo waifus. I don't know if you've been following that, but the robots that I'm working on, essentially they just work with an exoskeleton, right? And a human could also wear it. So I was thinking of how to actuate that correctly. So muscle wire, that's what we came up with, right? But muscle
Mm-hmm.
wire is very expensive and quite slow, and even adding more would just add more heat and price and complexity. So I don't think it's gonna work just yet with current muscle wire. So we were even thinking of either magnetic systems, right? That could work, and pulleys. And going even further than that, bioprinting of muscle. So then
Mm-hmm.
you'd slowly start printing muscle. Um, and I would say muscle printed would also work for this device in terms of like flappy bits, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have to print a large. Well, it basically is like printing a large animal. That's it, right? So we'd have to treat this as if it was an actual large dragonfly and manufacture it in such a way. So you can either do that um, through more non-natural means or natural means. Which one would you prefer? I mean,
Hmm.
in terms of maintenance and like etc. reliability.
I have a well, you're breaching onto definitely something very new. I have a TED talk I'd like to share with you about
Oh.
kind of like a architectural sort of research being done, and kind of like the last definitely a few hundred years, there's been consolidation and specialization of
Mm.
various disciplines. But now we're in this time of kind of cross-pollination between the disciplines,
Mm.
and including what you're getting into is sort of genetically developed structures, as it were.
Yeah, the Xenobots, right? So I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a.
have you
Oh, I
seen?
see. Yeah.
Yeah, Wayland Industries.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that TED Talk is the most genius TED Talk I've ever seen. And I one day want to give that TED Talk, but when all of these things work and they're real from the metaverse, that's the dream of
Wow.
mine. So, yeah. Uh, so can't wait.
Well, to me, the most pressing matter of the day, of course, is climate change. And you're in Norway, correct?
The Netherlands.
Oh,
Uh,
Netherlands. My mistake.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So what was the question again?
Well, my passion is dealing with climate change. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mine too, right? I don't, I even went as far as to go into the whole underwater habitat thing, an automated structure building. So essentially, what I figured out was like, if you have the perfect brick, right, and you just mass produce that one brick, basically a brick of any shape with magnets on the side, and you just activate those. I mean, you just pull those magnets or push them to get the thing right into the position, right? So let's say it's like a hexagon, it will just roll over to the right position, click into place, done, and like thousands of those at once, right? And you would literally have a building just construct itself without any human intervention. So I think that's the best way to do it, right? And same for underwater habitats. Like, it's gonna be very expensive if we need manpower, etc. No, we can do it more efficient by just having the smallest piece construct itself, right? So, and at that point, all you need to do is like have a system in place so that these pieces will be able to read a mesh of any 3D model. Like, let's say this is a mesh, right? Like some polygons. Right, this could actually be a good shape for it, but then we just roll
Looks
into
a little bit
place.
like Ethereum.
It does look like Ethereum. Oh, actually making it look like Ethereum would be a good idea. Like then,
Good start for the crypto community.
yeah. Oh, you're also into crypto? I mean, of course you are, right?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well in it. Not, I wouldn't say crypto investing, but crypto trading. That's so much better.
Like just okay, so like day trading in a sense, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you can
Yep.
make a lot from that if you
Hmm.
can follow the patterns. Like I can tell you a couple patterns I discovered and why I discovered them, right? This is not financial advice. Let's see. So today is the 17th, which means okay. So what I discovered in the past, I used to work at the number one Dutch neighborhood safety app. Like I was one of the three developers, and I was the only. That's where I started out my machine learning career, right? So I was working on systems that can predict the likelihood of crime in a given area. This is a very touchy subject, right? I think I can talk about it now, right? Because it's been so long ago. But essentially, in terms of crime, the time of the month and the weather played the biggest role, right? And of course the location too. But those other factors are more of a global reason for crime happening, and the time of the month denotes uh, the day that people have money at all, right? And
Right.
so if people are poor, usually between the 20th and the 1st of the month, right? Between those days, people have already spent most of their money. And I noticed the same patterns in crypto. That's when the price is dumping because people have to sell to like pay for rent and other stuff, right? And then during payday, nearing payday, it just picks up again and then just booms. Like that's it's so crazy that I noticed that, but that's still been true a couple years later. Yeah. By the way, predicting crime is very very touchy. It's like Minority Report. So we
Yes.
yeah, it's was just an experiment, but we didn't really use that data. It was cool though. Um, oh yeah, another thing, the weather. Yeah, the weather. So apparently on rainy days, right, in the afternoon, that's and then during poor time of the month, that's when the most crimes seem to happen. So yeah, do with that
It
what you
could
will.
be due to atmospheric pressure.
Oh yeah, on your head
Its
too.
effect on the psyche.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hmm.
Well, you didn't discount the the low hanging fruit of the phase of the moon,
The
and
phase
people
of the
acting
moon
like
too. Yeah, yeah,
lunatics.
that too. Yeah, yeah. Like I noticed the moon phase definitely has an impact. One, if it's like visible at night, they or invisible, they may or may not have a good reason to go, right? On top of that, okay, I'm not. People have a cycle every month, right? And some of those sync up with the moon, and that causes a lot of stress, right? So that could also be applied. Okay, but I think we're moving. Okay, so it's about crypto, right? Another thing
Hmm.
about crypto right now is what do people invest in and why? So I had a discussion with someone yesterday about like that you cannot run a country on Bitcoin. That's what I told him because there's this whole uneven distribution of holders, right? That's the tricky thing. It's even more unequal than our current system in a sense that we don't know who has what. Which means if your entire monetary system runs on that, they suddenly have a lot of power. And like countries like North Korea, Russia, China have hordes of Bitcoin, right? And they can then amplify their power. So I don't think doing that would be a good idea for us. We should probably have something better than Bitcoin or something that has an unequal distribution. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the country of El Salvador
Yeah, it was about that country. Yeah.
is already, let's say, running that experiment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then also Estonia is
Mm-hmm.
also very receptive to cryptocurrency, and
Mm-hmm.
also Ukraine, I believe. Yeah,
Oh,
those
which one
are.
is Ukraine doing?
Oh, I don't know the details. I just know that
Mm.
they're more receptive. Probably Estonia
Yeah.
is a leader in that.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly,
Yep.
what they've had to deal with is the AML, the anti-money laundering
Yep.
situation. Um, so, but it's been attracting quite a bit of business. And of course, you can become
Hmm.
a virtual citizen there.
Wait, what?
Yes, to Estonia, you can become a virtual citizen, and you can have a business and be able to you know, utilize the advantages of being in Estonia, just signing
Hmm.
up. You don't have to physically be present.
That's crazy. So, is it limited to like the EU or I
You,
guess
it's
maybe?
internationally welcome.
Wait, they can lit. Oh no, they've already started like poaching citizens. Like the moment people
Hmm.
realize that you can like poach citizens from another country, that's gonna be funny. Like the best country will win at that point, right? So they have to like take
They're
care of their
accelerating.
citizens. Yeah. Okay, you know a lot more about this than me, I guess. Well, you're in the same sphere. So we're gonna flip the board around in a sense, right? So governments have to work hard to keep their citizens, right?
Yes, you got it. You got
Yeah,
it.
it's all about that incentive structure. Like, it doesn't feel like my country particularly cares about my well-being, you know. So I feel like moving, even though it's a great country, right, in terms of monetary and like market position, etc. But it's just I don't trust the new cabinet. It's literally the same as the old one, even though there was like this huge tax issue and like discrimination and whatever, right? And there was a lawsuit and the government lost, and now the exact same people are back in power,
I
right?
see.
So I don't like that. And since my vote clearly didn't matter, well, I'm just going to leave, right? To my own country or to a better country. That's still to be decided. So, which country would you recommend to move to? Like, if anyone was like free to move anywhere?
Well, I like the electrification of Norway. You heard me
Oh,
mention
me
that.
too. Yeah, Norway is
Yeah,
amazing.
the fact that they've taken such big strides, and I would say for two reasons. Step one, they are going to be no longer permitting the sale of combustion vehicles after 2025. I mean, that is tremendous. That's huge. And so,
Yep.
majority of the sales are definitely electric vehicles. How can you be so stupid to purchase a
Mm-hmm.
combustion vehicle if soon they're going to be no longer permitted? You know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then actually the very next year,
Mm-hmm.
2026, they're going to have decarbonized marine fleet. So this is a
Oh my god.
huge, yeah, it's
That
a
country's
huge.
amazing. Yeah.
Think about the kind of market for you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm into hydrogen fuel cells, as you can hear,
Mm-hmm.
and we're scaling them up. And actually, the thing is, my proposal for the state of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here right between New York City and Boston. It's due today, so I need to get onto that. But I got to
Mm-hmm.
finish the expanse of the proposal. But um, I am very interested in talking to you more about sort of global platforms to be able to leverage your skill sets. I'm utilizing Google Earth, Google Earth layers to
Mm-hmm.
to show the landscape, the pros and the cons. Well,
Mm-hmm.
starting with pollution layers, sources of pollution. So I have a personal friend who just got breast cancer because they're from Puerto Rico and they're close to the coal-fired power plant, and they found cadmium and lead in her bloodstream.
What?
And yeah, yeah, people don't. And so imagine, China is covered in coal. They're just covered in it, but they're making huge strides in electrification. They're getting small electric vehicles.
Yeah,
They're
especially
matching
Shenzhen.
Tesla.
It's crazy how further yeah how far they are there. But would it be enough? Like, is China able to like pivot fast enough due to their size? But
And
you have to
maybe they
factor
need
that.
some help. And what's
Ah.
remarkable is, check this out. You understand that they are a sort of capitalistic, tyrannical country.
Sort of.
government centers.
They're just efficient. I just like calling China efficient, which they are. Like they're not evil, or they're just like doing what's
Indeed,
best.
indeed. So there's an interesting book from 2007, and you can check the audiobook on this.
Hmm.
It's pretty famous. Hot, Flat, and Crowded. I
Hot,
highly
flat, and
recommend it.
crowded.
Hot,
Okay,
Flat, and Crowded. And
I'll
so,
check it out.
so there's literally a chapter, and he goes, to be China for a day. You know, he
Hmm.
wanted, because, come on, we in the United States, we elected the orange guy, Trump, because we just weren't ready to elect a female president, I guess. They didn't like.
So, uh, or you mean Hillary? No, it's just probably because Hillary had. It was too obvious what Hillary's plans would be, which is war. I mean, with Trump, they thought they could
Oh,
like stick it to the man. They're not okay. I would say we need to get rid of all of these like boomer generation leaders in a sense, or at least older than 60. Like, come on, like we need to at least have an age limit or a competency limit. You have to
yeah.
prove that you're ready, you're fit. You need like a license, maybe. I don't know, some simple tests, right?
Well, in
That could.
China, you have to pass tests. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, see, so efficiency, like that's pretty cool, right? Of course, the test should
competency,
be
right?
fair, but yeah, you need to prove competency. Be besides popularity, they go hand in hand. It can't just be one popularity contest. Like otherwise, the freaking mailman could be president, right? For all we
Yeah.
know. Um. Hmm.
Well, in Michigan, we literally had wrestler Jesse the Body Ventura was a
Hmm.
senator or something for a while. Of course, it was not a stretch to see Arnold
Hmm.
Schwarzenegger getting governor of
I
California.
mean, he kind of deserved it, and it would be pretty cool for him to be. Okay, wait, is he still the governor there?
No longer. It's a guy named Gavin Newsom, but he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be president because he was not a natural born citizen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a good thing, especially for people like Elon Musk. Like, I mean, I know, I like Elon Musk, but I don't know. He gives me villain vibes, and like he technically is in the perfect position to be a super villain. SpaceX, Tesla, the Boring Company, But those companies could start space mining, honestly, and that's
Tesla
like
bot. Tesla bot.
Tesla bots. Yeah, like I mean, come on,
Oh,
like is nobody asking questions and no,
I've
what
got
they're yeah.
another book for you.
Hmm. Yeah,
This
it's.
one will blow your freaking mind. Okay, so
Mm,
I'm recommending, just for the environment would be hot, flat, and crowded. That again, you can get
for
an
China.
audiobook.
Yeah,
It can
I'm gonna
answer a
get
lot
it.
of questions. But
Yeah.
now this other one for the sort of sci-fi arena. This is the division. Okay, so the title is Manna, Manna. Manna is a name for bread, I suppose, right?
Can be anything. I mean, but go on.
Well, anyway, so the idea is kind of a bifurcation of what can happen in society regarding the applied AI, right?
Oh,
So, so the
yeah.
one side would be sort of like maybe a combination between Amazon and McDonald's, where process efficiency continues and essentially the people become enslaved. They become sort of
Oh
automatized
no, no,
where,
no! I have seen this one. I've seen this short story, Manna. It's like some
yeah,
thing in your ear, right? And it just tells you
that's right.
what to do
You've read it
exactly
already.
at that moment. Oh my
That doesn't
god.
surprise me. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it tells you this, tells you that, and then if you can't jump to it, if you're late, then you're fired.
Yeah. We should. I don't like that.
and
But
and then
yeah,
there's like a sort of downward spiral where people are kept in like maybe a hive, and they live in like a mud.
a pod, right? A
That's
pod
right, a
at
little
that
pod. It
point.
gets smaller and
Eating
smaller.
insects, right? And you'll be
That's right.
happy. Oh my
As
god.
opposed to going to Australia. Remember that?
Australia? What about Australia?
It's just sort of arbitrary that the author decided to use Australia as a
Hmm.
place. You didn't read the whole thing, did you?
No, and I only read the first part,
Oh
I
my
think.
God, you have to. get through it. Okay, so first of
Okay.
all, it's the first part is obviously gets worse and worse.
Hmm.
Don't even worry, because the second part, by contrast, is utopian. It's totally utopian. It basically shows how humanity can become omniscient, omnipotent.
Mm.
Both of those. Um, I don't know if I want to give it away. You know how it is. I could tell you.
Give it away, please.
Okay, so
I'm
here's
like, otherwise I'm
so the
gonna feel.
shorthand, and it's
Mm.
sort of not fair, but
Mm.
okay. So I got one of these AirPods. You probably got one of those. Do you have AirPods?
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah, right
using
on.
them now. But why?
But essentially that I tell Siri things and Siri does things, and she calls things and she sends a text
Yeah,
and
yeah.
da da da
The
da da.
assistant, right? That's the next big thing. That's what
Sure.
Google said.
A lot of the hands-free. I saw some good things with the Google Assistant too. So there's more and more that can be incorporated. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what this gets to is essentially you have a surgical procedure done,
Oh
and
no.
your spine is actually
BMI.
separated, and
Oh.
they
Oh.
put like a disc in your spine somewhere, and then
Yeah.
essentially you can actually disconnect your brain from your body, but ultimately you can connect your brain waves to everyone else. You can literally just think something over instead of texting, and then
Kind of like Altered Carbon and some other shows. I mean,
probably
yeah. I mean, that's coming, right? I even have plans for a brain machine interface like that. Like, I really think a brain machine interface is a lot more easy than people think, right?
the new Tesla phone coming out.
Wasn't that a meme? Like, you think
No,
that's
it's a
real?
real thing. The Tesla phone will enable the brain uh,
Oh, they had to make their own
BCI.
phone because these iPhones and Androids are full of exploits, apparently. Like, maybe manufactured. But yeah, that's a good point. Has to be one
Yeah.
platform.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I would
So
buy a Tesla phone, like, hands down. Honestly, now that
exactly.
I think about it, like, it would not really be safe to only have a phone control this device, right? Imagine your phone gets hacked or whatever. So it needs to be a special device. Or at
Yeah.
least
So you
a
have the
smart contract
questions. You got to
enabled.
find out what they're
Mm.
doing for solutions on that. Probably encrypting it, and good
Mm.
stuff.
Oh my god, you're so smart. Like, how did you get this smart? Like, I never meet people like you, so kind of curious.
Well, you're pretty novel yourself. I mean, believe me, if you think I'm smart, and we're just scratching the surface, I'm not. There's no point being falsely modest, but
I know.
I'm a generalist and a specialist, and I've been
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm an expert
you know,
generalist, so I guess that's what we are, right? So
the
that
key.
makes sense. Yeah.
hmm
Okay,
So you can
so.
cast the nets wide and combine ideas, and then
Mhm.
people are like, "How'd you do that?" And you're like,
Mhm.
"Well, come on, all the information's accessible, so you soak it up."
Exactly, and like John von Neumann, arguably the smartest man to have ever lived, right? What he did was just combine knowledge from like very deep, um, and well, structures of like
Areas of study,
knowledge.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, areas of study. So
His
I
name's
mean,
Jorn. What is it? Jorn.
John von Neumann,
Oh, how
uh,
do you spell that? Jorn.
Jon, I think. Uh,
Jon. Von.
yeah, and then Neumann.
Ah. How do you spell Noman?
John,
Nom.
sorry, it's this John von Neumann. Yeah, just look at this screen. Yeah, it's this guy. John von Neumann. So,
Oh yeah.
you
Oh
heard
yeah.
of
I have.
this guy? Is super smart. Like, he basically made the von Neumann architecture, right? Which is what what enables us to talk right now. So
Ah.
yeah. Let's see. But okay, so we've been at it for about an hour. I would
Yes.
say let's talk very soon. And oh, one more thing. Could you talk to your team about possible collaboration on mass production? So I want to produce a lot of these, and I think you guys would be able to help, especially with the solar cells. I mean, I live nearby Lightyear. Like, I could ask them
How
for
cool.
collaboration, right? Lightyear is basically it's really close to my house. Have you heard of them?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So, mm, okay. So collaboration would be nice. Competition would be nice. I don't care really. Like we're basically gonna open source everything. But yeah, so you can collaborate if you want. You don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just want these things to fly, right? And it doesn't matter if I make it. I just want to see one at least.
So,
Yeah.
so the let me see. What do we have?
Mm-hmm.
The for, oh, so race car, racing, car racing.
Oh, yeah.
There's this group called Formula E. Have you heard of this?
Look, me and Jack, we're actually talking about that we're gonna make a new type of like racing league. So there's this jetpack racing league, right? That we're
Oh wow.
working on, and instead of I was thinking, zero would be nice. So it's gonna be G0. So G is after F, right? And zero in terms of gravity. So G0.
0G,
Yeah,
G0.
yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah, like we have talked about that, and this would be ideal for racing too. Oh my
Sounds like
god.
the Star Wars pod racers, right? Or
Yeah.
essentially what's being done with quadcopter drone racing.
Pretty much, yeah.
And actually, I did one of those in 2015. So I live in essentially Hartford, Connecticut. I did the
Wow.
first UAV challenge where we had all these quad
Mm.
racers race their quadcopters um, around the football field. Did you know there was and they did it in Taiwan, probably Singapore. Literally, they'd have like an 18-year-old guy, and he'd win, $1 million for doing
That's pretty nice. Yeah,
quad racing.
we need more of that.
I know. I just basically was able to leverage something like $70,000 into $930,000 in Ethereum investing.
What? How?
Well, that's the day trading. It's not
Jesus
the
Christ.
sit on it and watch it kind of stuff that people are doing.
Yeah.
But
like,
I'd have to introduce you to that at some point.
yeah, that's maybe I don't even need people to buy it. We'll just day trade our way up.
Yeah.
And write some AI. I mean, I was writing some AI stuff for that too, so that's a good idea, honestly. Oh yeah,
Well,
I have
I
one.
mentioned Formula E. I'm not trying to be overly divergent here.
No, don't worry about
Formula
it.
E is pertaining to. It's related. Okay, it's related to the platform of. They might not even realize it. The platform of Aptera.
Wait,
essentially
really?
having a composite body, right? So Formula E is recommend not only
They're
a composite
using
body,
your composite body.
so yeah, of course, an Aptera has a composite body, but also plant-based fibers.
Yes, I need
Okay,
it. I need it. I need it. How do go on?
and
Go on.
frankly, not to go too far over the top. I mean, it could be switchgrass. It could be there's a number of fibers. It could be
Hemp.
bamboo, hemp. Hemp has been phenomenal. Hemp is probably one of the fibers of choice. It also can incorporate algae-based, proteins, and because you can get the oil out of the algae, and the algae can be absorbing the CO2.
So,
and that's the next meeting I'm going into at 11 o'clock today is along those lines.
oh my god, I was like looking into algae yesterday, right? But essentially, what you want is that these vehicles can reproduce.
Oh my goodness, that you don't get too far ahead of yourself. Let's see what
that's
we can
why.
do.
No,
Yeah.
it's just more like you can like make choices based upon that wish for the future, right? So that's why the composites, right, that you're gonna use are kind of important. But I guess being able to farm algae, right, would be good, and then having a 3D printer process that, well, you can embed a 3D printer and some other
So
facilities in it. But go on.
you are a young guy, and your
I know. I'm
imagination is.
overextending right here, right? But it's just more for the future. What will be useful?
That's right.
Yeah.
Your imagination is unbridled. But what I'm suggesting is a because we both follow Elon Musk so closely. Consider the wisdom of some of his, let's say, discipline, which would be to have the big plan and kind of have fun with it and share it.
Oh
But
yeah, he just builds
you
on
need to
top of
stage it out.
yeah. He
The
has
major
different
plan
stages. Yeah.
start with expensive, then you go to not so expensive, then kind of average, accessible, and then actually the next one is cheap for everyone. That way it's
Then it's like
affordable.
a version-based system. Okay. So, do you think the pricing on this one is acceptable? It's 321K.
I mean, it's all arbitrary as to what can be achieved. We don't know what can be achieved.
True.
I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah.
So indeed, so mine could be kind of like a hang glider, but maybe it needs like pneumatic muscles for the hang glider. When I was a teenager, I had an idea of like the X-Men, how they have maybe the Archangel has wings, or maybe Hawkeye has wings, and that's where the idea for the shape metal came from. It came that you'd have all these incremental joints that would be coordinated by microprocessor, and that seemed logical. But then you're like, oh, is it heavy? We don't know. If it's wire, maybe you can do it.
Okay. So it has to flap very fast, right?
Sure.
And that requires a lot of, well, I'm not sure if it requires a lot of power, but a sizable amount, right?
So fast twitch, it's going to be a frequency, right?
Yeah.
A frequency. So why don't you go and check out, vortices, wing vortex research from insects. Yeah. That's going to put you ahead.
So the thing is, like, they use muscle, right? They just use muscle.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And the dragonfly has like one muscle that just does most of the heavy lifting, and it just splits and
I'm sure it has
the
a few
wings.
muscles.
Well, it's just one main system for some reason. But okay, I'll look into it, right? But you have a good point. But I would say mimicking. If you don't know, mimic nature, right?
Biomimicry,
I like that principle. What?
Yep. I'm just they call it biomimicry.
Yeah, biomimicry. So essentially, this is an unknown, right? And I would say if we mimic nature, we find a material that could be a good muscle, and that's also good at healing itself, right? So you can have like rapid reuse without concern. Then I think we've got something. So I'm going to look into some other materials.
Well, I wouldn't conflate it too much. I say get the muscle, and test it, and then if it needs to be replaced, that's okay too. You don't allow yourself. Don't go and get tied up to a now.
Yeah.
Let perfection be the enemy of good.
True.
Like tires have to be replaced. So it is.
Okay. Yeah, and you just have to know how often, right? So.
Right.
Okay, so there is wear and tear. You plan for it. Indeed. Okay, got it.
There's preventative maintenance. There, I lived on a submarine. So we literally have sensors that detect the frequency of the motor, so that we'll know, like the bearings and such. We'll know a change in pitch, so that months out, you're not going to have cataclysmic failure. Months before, a month, a year, 2 years before it's going to fail, you've already changed it out preventatively. Preventative maintenance.
Okay, so Jesus. Okay, I have questions, but you can probably not answer most because of like reasons, right? So, sonar technology, like, is that open, or is there's,
Sorry.
Yeah, see, so you can't. Okay, but there's probably some off the shelf stuff you could use, right? Or at least
so
to
you want to do underwater navigation with sonar? Is that it?
No, I just don't want to hit stuff.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, passive sonar is just listening. You can listen to a lot, and then
Mm-hmm.
you got a fathometer is bottom bounce. All right, so you're probably not gonna
No, I don't want to do active sonar. That's gonna like destroy wildlife. You're right.
disrupting. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's
Okay.
gotta be a way. Can I say this? I wonder.
Probably not.
Oh,
Um.
yeah, yeah, probably not.
No. So just be very vague about it. If you even
Well, you
no.
might look in the range of there's I think there are some lasers that can go underwater. You might look into blue
Oh
beam
yeah,
laser.
lighter and everything. Okay, no, that makes sense, right? But then you have to deal with the refraction, but that's doable. I would say, yeah, no, that's possible.
Turn.
I'm
Hmm.
gonna do some experimentation there, and I would say, yeah, it could work out. Hmm.
So definitely want to plan for next week. I would love your
Yeah.
help on doing the. We didn't barely even crack open the concept of Google Earth Layers.
Oh,
I believe this is going to be the way to
yeah.
help bring humanity together and have, check this out, an investment platform by which they can see to make the invisible
Oh,
visible.
visual. Yeah,
All right,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
exactly.
they can't see the pollution, you can't see the CO2, you can't see the effects
Hmm.
of it.
Yeah, we
You
need a
may have
map.
you may have personally seen, like
Hmm.
the CO2 map from satellites.
Hmm. But
Have you
it's
seen this?
abstracts. No,
Uh,
it's.
oh my God! So
Or should
you
I
could
look?
go
Yeah.
like just type NASA satellite CO2 map,
Uh,
and maybe
uh,
I'll send it your way. And it shows the cycles of the season and how CO2 increases during the winter months, and it decreases significantly when the deciduous trees have bloomed and they can actually absorb CO2. But it shows that
uh,
when
wait.
the leaves fall
Yeah.
in the in the in the winter, how much CO2 buildup continues, and then we're not even talking methane. Methane's a big problem. But
Hmm.
anyway, so
Yeah,
to
methane is more short-lived though, but it's hmm.
so I want to
Okay.
replace all the methane with hydrogen, like
Yeah.
they've done in Leeds and Liverpool, UK.
Okay.
That's a good example. Um,
So the thing with hydrogen is like some hydrogen is not green, but doesn't
no,
matter.
yeah, so I
But doesn't
totally
really
understand.
matter. Like if we're not gonna use it anyway, right? I
So
mean,
green
hmm,
hydrogen, uh, is the way of the future. It is. It's picking up
exactly.
steam.
Yeah. So it's a byproduct of the oil and gas industry, right? I mean, what do they use it for now besides mid-advanced stuff?
Methane. They're cracking methane, steam reforming. But
Ah,
any place that's utilizing wind and solar can be generating hydrogen just from
sure.
electrolysis,
Yep.
and so that's the new power of the future.
Okay, I agree. Um, yeah, that plus underwater habitats means we don't have to worry about climate change, right?
It
And then we
doesn't
can.
require the cobalt utilized in batteries.
Oh,
It can
really?
be, you know, yeah, well, right.
Yeah, this fuel cell or
Yes, hydrogen fuel cells you're inquiring about.
yeah.
It does currently require thin layers of platinum for a catalyst.
Hmm.
Not even as much as is required in a catalytic converter can you make a fuel cell for your vehicle. You know.
So they're cheap to make or manufacture or
Let's say the price is coming down. You might, as a query, check out the Department of Energy hydrogen shot, which is modeled after the moon shot and even the
oh,
solar
okay.
shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a new venture that just happened in October.
Hmm.
Hydrogen shot was, well, I can tell you all about it. Anyway, we want a hydrogen-based economy.
Yeah.
This is something that Japan is looking to. Norway and Scotland are also taking big
Nice.
strides in. Yeah. So that's exciting. Um, so we have a battle between the fossil fuels, which make many trillions of dollars every year.
Hmm.
Okay, that's your adversary, versus clean energy projects. and I want to show that so that everyone
Exactly.
can
Pick your
see
side, right? And then we
the
just
problem and the solutions, and
yeah.
then they can be freaked out